Okay, that concert we just played was so much fun. I just want to
Yeah.
talk about that.
Let's do that, yeah.
It was for the Guitar
Hmm.
Society, and we did one of these with Amato Espinoza, our very good friend.
Yeah.
I think a couple years ago or 3 years ago, before the pandemic.
It's a very long series. It's been going, I moved here in 93, and I've been playing here since I was a kid with this series, and it's extraordinary. Very well funded. They treat me really well. And yeah, this is your second one, right?
This was my second concert with the Guitar Society.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we played a lot of cool stuff that showcased your flamenco tango skills.
Hmm.
That was beautiful.
We
So
showcased your Irish stuff.
showcased my show off skills.
Hmm.
We did the Galician stuff, and I always kind of am like, yeah, it's Galician, and when we do tango stuff, yeah, it's tango, and we do a lot of things where I'm playing the melody of something that is normally or traditionally sung,
Hmm.
and we really make it our own. And I have a lot of influences speaking through my playing, just because I do a lot of different genres, and I think that's because I love the variety. I love the challenge, and I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie outside of music, and that you can hear it in my playing. You can hear that I'm taking some risks, and I enjoy the feeling of being scared.
Oh, well said.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that's why I love playing with you, and I think why audiences react to you. You're definitely on the edge, and I just get to simply, I'm just the picture frame, and I can be reactive and just let you do your thing, and I don't know what's coming, so I can't be bored, and I can't go to sleep. I have to really be on my toes, and I think audiences pick that up, no matter who you're playing with. Yeah.
Well, you're a lot of fun because of your level of sensitivity and your experience level of playing with violinists,
Hmm.
and you're so much fun to converse with musically.
I do love the fiddle.
Yeah, I'm very proud to be Beau Bledsoe's current violinist. He has many, and they're all idols of mine, and I've studied with them. Christian Fatu, uh, Christine Grossman, Elizabeth Salaine,
Reeves.
Christine Breves, Brebs.
Yeah,
She's beautiful. Man, get back here, Brebs.
please. All right, so tell me about the pandemic. How did you develop? How did you evolve? How did it affect you? Of course, we're still in it, and it's still affecting us. But we did the pandemic pretty well, I think.
We did. So it was very bizarre at the beginning, and I was spending a lot of time setting up my slack line in the park and just working on my balance. And I was starting to learn kiteboarding with a power kite, and I broke my leg
Mhm.
just a couple weeks into the pandemic. So I was super house locked, and you live very close by.
Mhm.
So we formed a bubble, started playing all the time. We did an outdoor concert series, and we just really explored music together. And there was a mental shift that I think my playing got really affected, and my voice, just that my approach to music really changed because of the space I had to kind of fall in love with music again and fall in love with playing. Because before the pandemic, I was just so busy playing gig.
Yeah, the hamster wheel.
The
Yeah.
hamster wheel, I got a little bit stuck in the hamster wheel, and I didn't enjoy jamming anymore. And I wouldn't get my violin out of the case unless it was a gig or a
Mhm.
rehearsal. And we didn't have anything to do, so we just found our way again, and it's been so much fun. I found so much new music. You showed me a lot of music, and our friend Ezgi Karakush, who is from Turkey, she's just a Kansas City gem. Very lucky to have her. And we did the garden concert series with
Yeah, that's how we
her.
survived.
We found ways to survive and continue to make income and create music. It was really magical. I used to have really, really long hair, and at the beginning of the pandemic, right after I broke my leg, I just couldn't take it anymore, shaved it all off, and that was kind of a metaphor for what was going on. I was like getting rid of, just kind of shedding off everything that happened before the pandemic and building something new.
Yeah, it was so effective. It really, that read to the public, I think, and to your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I'm different now.
Yeah, it's kind of a
Kind
rebirth
of.
through a hairdo, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those things are real.
Yeah.
So, you started playing music at a very young age,
Mm-hmm.
very seriously. So, how does that inform your music now? And how does that inform, because you're teaching my daughter, a 7-year-old daughter, violin.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you've been a great mentor to my son, Aiden, who's 11. And, like, how does that, what do you bring from being a young musician and remembering those days?
Well, I remember being so enamored with what music is and how it's kind of an escape from everything. And I would always rush. Like, I remember playing these Clementi sonatinas on the piano, and I was just rushing, and it would just excite me to play music. And when I started violin, I was just, rushing everything. I would start playing, and I just loved the feeling of music and how it kind of takes you into another dimension. And time becomes this thing that it becomes measured, and then you can do stuff with that. You can play with the energy. And I was always into rushing. Now I'm really into like slowing down and then rushing again, and that's
The rushando.
The rushando. Yes, music is just magical, and the key and what you can do with that, and you can just go so many places musically.
But when you teach children, I mean, how do you impart these
Okay,
things?
so this is interesting. I've been teaching since I was a teen. I started, making income by teaching beginners and things like that. And my teaching philosophy has really become, the most important thing is to impart the love and the magic that is music. It's like technique is important, making sure you can read notes and all that. That's very important, obviously. But the most important thing is to lock in and get aligned with what music is, and to love your sound, and to love the exploration, the relationship with the instrument. To me, that's the most important thing.
And embrace the self-loathing that comes with that. That's part of it.
So much self-loathing.
Yes.
Well, I think that's just being a human.
Yeah. That's how you get better.
Yeah, for sure. But, we've all heard the stories of people that took lessons and, they just got discouraged, or this or that happened and they don't play anymore.
Oh, it's so common.
It's so
I used to
common.
play and then I just got out of it. I mean, we hear that probably 5 times a day.
Mm-hmm. Especially after a concert, people say, oh, I used to play this, but this happened, or whatever. But if you love it, you will keep playing. And no matter what else you're doing in your life, it's such a satisfying relationship to have. When you have something to come to where you can kind of escape, it's a very safe place.
And you can come back to it later in life.
You can always come back to it. I have adult students. I love
Yeah.
teaching adults. I love encouraging people to sing and just lock into music. Stop thinking. Play music. Sing. That's my
Beautiful.
philosophy.
Right on. So tell me, where's Coleen Dieker going to be in 5 years artistically?
Oh boy.
I know you really are interested in writing your own songs, leading your own projects. You have many personal goals, which I think are really important to address even in a professional context. Like, I know you're wanting to buy property, and tell me how you imagine yourself 5 years from now down the tunnel.
Yeah. Well, I spent most of my 20s just kind of being like, am I going to make it? Am I going to always be able to do this? Am I going to have to get a different job eventually? I went to nursing school briefly in my very early 20s. It didn't work out. It was just like, no, not a good fit. But being a musician is not seen as a practical option. It seems kind of silly. And I think I'm finally in a place where I'm taking myself seriously, and I know that I can do this for the rest of my life. When I shattered my wrist back in April and I wasn't able to play for a while, it kind of woke something up in me.
That'll give you some context.
It did.
Yeah.
And I knew for sure I want to be a musician. Because before that, I was always kind of like, maybe I'll do something else.
Where does that come from? Is it our parents?
I think it's
and our
self-loathing
self?
and you
Yeah.
know, it's insecurity. It's just, it's weird to continue to believe that the gigs are going to come, but they do. And
Yeah, your
more
phone,
than ever,
yeah.
I know that that's what I need to do. I need to do what I'm doing. And yeah, I'm going to buy a house.
Mhm.
Very excited.
Yeah.
I love Kansas City. Another myth is that you have to be in some place like LA or New York to be a musician. But Kansas City has been incredibly good to me. Our musical relationship and my relationship with the other musicians of Ensemble Iberica, my Irish rock band Flanagan's Right Hook, and the wedding band I play with, Lost Wax. There's just so much talent in this city and so much work for us that's satisfying and challenging, and I love it here.
It has that balance and formula where you can not have a day job and you can actually just play all the time.
Yes.
And you can participate in things like real estate as a
Yes.
musician, which is
You can be
impossible.
a serious,
Yeah.
adult, productive member of society and a full-time musician who's just gigging, no day job.
Yeah.
That's a thing. That's what you and I both do.
Mhm.
A lot of our friends do it.
Yeah, it's not that uncommon.
It's beautiful.
More parents should know that.
More parents should know that. There's a lot of myths in our society that we're just breaking them all down.
Yes. So, tell me, I hear you talk often about, wanting to compose and lead your own projects. I mean, to me, you're like a very powerful sideman right now. Like the phone rings, your calendar, you can barely keep up with it. You're starting to have to say no to things. You're at a stage that I've seen before in other musicians where your career is dragging you along and you can barely keep up. It's sort of where you want to be, It's an amazing place to land, but now you have to start making decisions on, sideman, leader. I mean, those are
I love being a sideman. I love
side person.
side woman.
Yes.
I love how collaborative music is. Like when you and I play, neither of us is the front man. It's very collaborative, and we're very much creating everything together. And that is so magical to me. That's the best thing about being a musician, is that you kind of have to lose your ego a bit and make it happen. Of course, ego is a part of life and it's something we all contend with, but I love what we do. I love the vibe of Ensemble Iberica, and the projects that I'm in currently, I feel respected. I feel like I get to listen and take in other people's artistry. I get to contribute my artistry, and I'm very satisfied with where I am. And I know that it's going to change and evolve. It has every single year that I've done this. It's like everything looks different as time moves on. And I couldn't predict 5 years from now if I tried. I've had so many almost things and many surprises in my career.
You were kind of wanting to quit there.
I know,
5
that's
years
what I'm
ago.
saying.
You were sort of
I'm not
on
going
the
to want
fence.
to quit.
Yeah.
I think I'm done with that.
Mhm.
The self-doubt of, am I a real musician or not? I think that's over. I'm 32 now. I think I'm just going to ride out the rest of this journey being a musician. That's very much part of my identity.
But could you see yourself being a leader of your own ensemble, writing the tunes and the arrangements?
Well, right now
Humor me.
it still feels daunting.
Yeah.
The Ensemble Iberica retreat, where I wrote that tune, and you guys played it, you know how emotionally overwhelming that was for me, and I was just like, oh my
Yeah, that was
gosh.
heavy. Yeah.
It was. And a part of it is, like, how do I even define myself? I'm so afraid of being put in a box. That's another thing. I have, like, caged bird syndrome, where I'm not in a cage, but I just need to make sure that I'm not in a cage. And that's why I have my hands in all these different pots.
Yeah. Well, just a couple of days ago, I told you, like, I could see someone, like, putting you on a retainer and you being, like, a sideman in a group and a very successful pop star. And that idea just repulsed you. Yeah.
No, I don't want to be on a retainer.
Yeah.
A retainer, that's not a great word.
That sounds like a box.
Yeah. I had a salaried job for a while as a music director, and it was a very beautiful experience. It was at a nonprofit synagogue in Overland Park, B'nai Yehuda, and I very much love that community. But the salary life is not, it doesn't serve me. I need
That
the
makes me
freedom.
uncomfortable too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like being on a retainer.
Yeah.
No.
Like security has the opposite effect on me.
Security, yes,
Yeah.
that's
Makes me uneasy.
freedom is definitely higher than security for me. I don't want to get political, but yeah, I need freedom.
So Colleen, we have an official showcase at Folk Alliance in
Mhm.
February of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be your first time.
Yes, I've
going.
never been to Folk Alliance.
Yeah. So what do you hope happens?
Man, I've been to conferences before. I am really hoping to just meet some mind-blowing people, some mind-blowing talent, and to get to jam and play with a bunch of musicians and hear some sounds I've never heard and make some sounds I've never made. And I'm really excited for our performance with our group. I love our group.
So you're coming from Bolivia, like right before
Yes,
that,
so
right?
Ezgi and I are traveling to Bolivia. We're going to do some concerts with Amado Espinoza
Mhm.
down there, see some beautiful things, and then we'll come back, and the next day, I think, is our showcase at Folk Alliance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very exciting.
very exciting.
Well, we're hoping to be there in November. There's a big Charango festival
Mm-hmm.
in his hometown, and then hopefully we'll end up in Buenos Aires all together.
Yes.
For another project.
With freebies.
Yes,
Mhm.
the Breebies. It's going to be an incredible year for us. So, on behalf of Heartland Song Network, thank you so much for your deep wisdom and being Artist of the Month for November of
I'm
2021.
deeply honored to be called Artist of the Month, and
Thanks, David. It was a good idea.
oh, that's so
Yeah.
nice. Yes, and more immediately, we have our residency at Tannen coming up.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, so the 1st, 3rd, and 5th Wednesday of December, Beau and I will be playing at Tannen in the Crossroads.
Mhm.
I think 7:30 to 9:30, and then
Mhm.
every Thursday in December as well. We're gonna be exploring some more pieces and taking the pieces we already know to, wherever they need to go.
Yeah, this has always
Excited
been kind of a
about
little
that.
fantasy of ours, is to have a little cafe gig where we can kind of low risk, where we can really explore things and people can be a part of it. And we went in there one night and just said it out loud.
And now
here
it's
we go.
happening.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, it's going to be a fine thing to do during the winter. So hope to see you there. And
Cheers.
Salud.
Salud.
You're the best.
You.